Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about sort of time of year, when you should be dieting, when you should be training. A few people have asked me recently about, I'm getting into the end of the season, I'm getting near winter training, can you help me out with sort of what I should be doing for the winter, which is different from the summer. So I started thinking about how the easiest way to explain that, and then went out for a little ride this morning, which is why I'm in my kit. And whilst I was out on the bike, I was just thinking the easiest way and the best way to describe this to you guys. And I thought, well, if I just got a calendar, I could then really easily split your year into sections. So we got January through to December, pretty standard. This is only a suggestion, by the way. You can tailor it to how your year works, whether you're racing or sportives, or whether you're just doing it for one event or multiple events, or just for your own personal goal to lose weight, whatever. And if you want any help in putting together your calendar and your planner, feel free to give me a message here on YouTube. So I'll do this one loosely based around racers, cyclists more specifically. So generally, cyclists will race from March through till September. So we're going to do that as a green. So it's a bit of a go period. Cyclists are pretty easy because you can, or competing athletes are pretty easy. You can just split a year into two. You're either racing or you're training. So racing, we're in green. The rest of the year, so I'm going to do winter training. We're going to do as a nice blue colour because it's so bloody cold in the winter. So October, November, December, January, February, your winter training. October, you could, again, that's a little bit of preference. You could have October off. You could have that as a bit of a, you could just loop that as a bit of a time off period. But generally, you're either training or you're racing. And then within that, I would then pick out a handful of events that I really wanted to peak for. So let's say something around about June, which is normally in the race calendar, something that's, like the regional championships, and then there's something else sort of towards the end of July, maybe, something like, what's in there, one of the BC national events, Masters or Normals, and then let's do something very end of September. I used to go to Mallorca, do the Masters Tour of Mallorca. So you've got like three pretty clear peaks in there as well, so you can they're the areas that you want to win. You want to be on your top of your game, and then within that you can section off what you want to do with the training first, and then you can section off what you want to do with the dieting. So I would say October you would have time off. There's nothing wrong with having a bit of time off, bit of rest, let your body recover. Spend a bit of time with your family, work, whatever, things that you don't do through the racing season. And what I normally find is it just spurs you on wanting to come back to the sport and more enthusiastic and more drive to get going, which is brilliant when you get through to November, when you're asking yourself to go out training in mediocre or shitty weather. So November, December, I would just be looking at endurance. Again, same for those 2 months. And then when you get into like January, I would be putting in their strength and endurance. Just going to abbreviate that to E. And then again, the same in February as well. Strength and endurance. And then when you're getting into March, you want to be looking at top end and quality. So hopefully you've done all your base work, you're starting to get stronger with a bit of base work, and then you got to fire in some top end quality. So endurance takes months, top end speed takes weeks. So that's why you do it that way around. With your diet on this, what you would do, let's separate these off, nice colours. So when you're doing endurance, I would have a fairly high calorie diet. plenty of carbs, good carbs, and I'm talking sweet potato and rice. And what you would do, you would nicely calculate that so that you're giving yourself enough energy to do all these miles. You're not going to put any weight on at all. You're just giving yourself, you're fueling yourself enough for the winter, enough for the mileage, so you can actually do the training. We're not so worried about the weight too much. We're worried about getting the miles in. So you'd actually do it so your weight would stay the same. You might just lose a couple of pounds, but nothing major. Then when you get up into the new year, you can get through Christmas as well. You can enjoy a bit of Christmas pudding and a few drinks, bits and pieces like that, and not worry about your weight too much. Just make sure you get those miles in and get that endurance. When the 1st of January comes around, you're probably drunk a little bit over New Year's Eve. You probably want to burn that off. This is where you can change it. I would drop some calories. And then be more specific with carbs. So this is the area I would use: January, February, March, 4, 8, 12 weeks where you could really knuckle down and start to drop some weight very, very slowly. In 12 weeks you could look to drop 3-4 kilos, maybe even more. Depends how much of weight you put on at the end of the season. But specific carbs. So with that, what I'm talking about is the big phrase. I love this one. You have to earn your carbs. So you would, a bit like what I'm doing at the moment, you would just put them into your schedule for the day, so that you just need them. So you're going to carb up for some training, and then you're going to carb up for a little bit of repair afterwards, and then you can alleviate it and cut it out in other parts of it, just so that you're not overeating, and you're monitoring your carbs and monitoring your calories, and you will start to lose weight, like I am at the moment with the diet I'm on at the moment. When you get to your race season, so I would probably say 1st of March, whatever weight you've hit in 1st of March, that's generally what you're going to hold for the summer. It's so difficult to race at a high level and lose weight. So whatever weight you've hit by the 1st of April, that's the one that you want to stick with. So that's really a target weight. So as you're getting into March, you could do, if you're still a couple of kilos or a couple of grams off your target weight, you could start doing some fasted rides, just to really drop that last bit of weight, burn into some stored calories, some stored cells of fat, and get your body training under a stressful situation, so you're getting ready for racing. You could do about a month's worth of that, and then when you come into the racing, you're going to be, like I say, you're going to struggle to lose any weight. So then when you're into this whole summer period, let's ring that nicely in there, of racing, I would put together a race diet around your racing. So whether you're doing a local 10 on a Tuesday, maybe a long ride with your mates on a Wednesday, track league on a Friday, something like that, or maybe another crit on a Thursday, and then the big road race on the weekend. So you might be racing like 2 or 3 times a week, and you would put together a diet for that. So you're just enough food that you can race and get the performance, enough food on your rest days so you're recovering. So you would do a bit of calorie counting and a little bit of carb and protein counting. So it's a little bit like what you're doing back in January, February, but you've just got to just make sure you've got enough energy and enough food in for your racing. So this would be your race diet. And through the winter, you would have played around with your diet enough, and you'll know what works for you, whether you work well with carbs, whether you work well with fats, etc., etc. So by the time you get to the racing season, you'll know what you should be eating and what you can get away with to sustain your weight the same. But the big thing with that is to keep your performance. Don't try and lose weight through the season. It just you get tired, you get ill, you get run down, and then it ruins the racing. If you get to these target points here, and you're ill, all that training is just a complete waste. So don't make any changes through the race season like that. Get all this work done through the winter. You've got October, November, December, January, February, March. 6 months, half a year. You can prep your weight, get yourself ready for the 1st of April, and you can race through the season. So we're sitting here. We've just come into September. Some people have got some racing going on. There's the European Masters. There's a couple more road races, bits and pieces of that coming. There are a couple of races abroad in October that people might do. So you're getting near the end of your season. So don't worry about all of this yet. I would enjoy the racing, enjoy your form, get some results, have a little bit of time off in October, and then sit down with your calendar and try and plan something out similar like this for yourself for the winter. Enjoy your winter training, have some goals, set little timelines on there so you know where the end is. You're not just continuously training all the way through for 6 months. Break that up into sections so you've got little goals every 8 weeks or something like that. You get somewhere and you change the diet or you change your training. Having end goals and knowing when it finishes is so good for your mind. So you don't just think this is just an endless task that's never going to stop. Like I say, if you need any help with this, please feel free to drop me a message here on YouTube. I'll be happy to talk you through bits and pieces like that. But that's general structure that you can work with training, diet, and your calendar. Hope that makes sense, and hope you can put something similar together. So good luck. Bye bye.